Hello guys, and welcome back to the Diagnose. Just want to give you a bit of an update this week. As you can tell, the bike is out of action. If you watch the very end of my last video, you'll have seen that one of the bolts came out of the brake disc and it has absolutely destroyed the wiring on the bike. Give you an update. I've rebuilt the wheel with new wires, all silicon wires, resoldered everything, put plugs and everything back on, and wired it up, and the bike still didn't work. Now, I've got a little tester, and I recommend any of you guys out there who whose bike's broken, you should buy these little testers. I'll show you just now. I'm going to show you how to use it, and I'm going to show you some of the issues my bike's got. Basically, guys, what happened is, I'm guessing that hall sensor wires have touched the phase cables and burnt the hall sensors out, but I'm not an electrician. And I'll try and show you guys every week the truth about e-bikes. So this is one of these ones where we're going to have to fix it. I've put the tester on the controller and it should read a certain amount of lights. I'll show you when we actually do the video, but it should show a certain amount of lights. It should pulse twice, and it's pulsing twice, but it's pulsing in the wrong places. So I might have burnt my controller out, which if any of you have watched my videos before, you know this controller is not a standard thing. This is an absolute beast of a controller, and it's going to cost us basically this and this to put it right. So I'm going to change the hall sensors. That'll be in next week's video if you guys want to see how hall sensors are stripped out. But in this video, if you just keep watching, I'm going to show you how to strip the wheel. I know a few of you guys have asked us before, how do you get the magnet out? How do you get the covers off? I'm going to actually show you guys. I've done this before. I've showed you guys on previous videos how to change hall sensors. It's not the first time I've done it. I've had the wheel apart 100 times. So I'm going to show you how to go on with it, show you a few shortcuts, show you that you can do it at home with limited tools. You don't need these fancy presses and whatnot. I mean, if you've got them, or you've got the time or the money to go out and pay somebody to push your stator out of the wheel, then by all means go and do it. I'm sure that's probably a better way, but this way works perfectly fine. If any of you guys has used these testers before, I would like you to let us know, say what you think of the results. So that's what we're going to cut to. If you haven't seen the video where I wrecked the bike, go back and watch my last video, the one in Thornton Woods. It was absolutely brilliant day out, absolutely fantastic. Right at the very end, just before I put the bike in the van, I realised the wires were snapped. So you got to watch it to the very end and you'll see what I'm talking about, and you'll see the devastation. So firstly, guys, I just want to talk about the tester a little bit. This little device, Tony of Vortex, he told us about them, and they are quite simple to use. They aren't too bad. Apparently some of them come in Chinese writing with the instructions, so I just want to show you how to go on with it. You can see here these clip wires are for phase cables, and these ones here, guys, is your hall sensors. The reason I've got them stripped back is because it came with a plug. My bike has got spade connectors, so I've just stripped them back. Don't be worried about cutting the plugs off, and just make sure that nothing touches, I guess, when you put it all together. I'm going to show you now. I'm going to attach it to the bike, and I'm going to show you some of the results I've got. Right, guys, just before we go any further, you can see it all wired up here. It's worth noting I've never actually taken the wires out of the controller, so yellow is yellow, green is green, etc, etc. You can see that what I've done here with the phase cables, they're just touching. Sorry, not the phase cables, the bloody hall sensors. So this is the tester that we're testing them with. As you can see here, I don't really need to explain it too much, but this here is controller side. So that's the side obviously you wire up to your controller. It's worth noting as well, guys, that you don't actually keep your wires connected. You disconnect the motor for all your testing. The other set of wires there is obviously for the controller. I've just realised how bad the spelling is, controller hall lines. So yeah, we're going to test this. Yes, I'm hoping now I've seen that they've just wired up the bulbs wrong. This is a cheap Chinese thing. It was only £8. I guess we'll see when we change the hall sensors next week. Yeah, so let's get to it, guys. This is how you use the tester. So first of all, we turn this on. Got the battery light on. Turn the ignition on. And this light here, the second light, means that we haven't got no bad connections. If this second light is off, guys. I do apologise for the wobble, but I'm freehanding this. Yeah, so the second light comes on, that tells you you haven't got no bad connections anywhere. And then what we do is we twist the throttle and we should see hall sensor. Hold on a minute. What the... Right, guys, so the idea of this, it's doing something different to the last time I had this wired up. I'm not entirely sure why. Last time I had it wired up, I'll add the other video in, but basically it was going B, C, B, A, C. It was flashing all over the place. Now it was B, B, C, C, A, A. And looks like it's alright. I don't know what's going on there. I've got no idea, but it looks like the controller's perfectly fine. That's the way the instructions say it should work. I'm really impressed. I'm absolutely buzzing about that, because last time it wasn't doing that. So there's some good news. Maybe this little test is better than I thought it was. Just to give you an idea as well, the lights, if any of them's dull, you could also have a problem. So I'm not sure about that C up there. No, it seems to flash okay. So I'd say the controller's working fine. Yeah. 100% happy with that. Yeah, hey, happy days. So I'm going to reconnect the tester onto the back wheel, and I'll show you what happens when you've got bad hall sensors and whether or not your motor windings are okay. So we'll do that test next. Right, here we go, guys. This is now wired up to the motor. A few things you want to know first is that it's not connected to the controller. We're not going to turn the bike on, nothing like that this time. Basically we've got just the 3-phase cables here that's got the clamps on. It's worth noting, guys, that this wheel's been rebuilt now a few times, and the wires are no longer the original wires. We've got 2 blacks and a red there, so maybe it's made it a bit complicated for myself, but the amount of times I've stripped this. But anyway, that's not important. What I'm going to do first, before we even turn it on, is I'm going to turn the wheel. You just turn this by hand. You can see I'm turning it. And what we see here is that the windings are okay. This is electricity created by the magnets inside the wheel. So this is saying yes, each magnet, there's 3 magnets in there, and each one works perfectly fine. What we do, guys, is that we turn the tester on. This again tells you that you've got all good connections, and we've got the blue hall sensor light here. So when I spin the wheel now, we should have the next light lighting up for the yellow wire and the green wire, and this is what happens. So you can see there's this light here. This one here is not changing, the hall sensor one, which tells me there's 2 hall sensors burnt out in the back wheel. So these ones here should be flashing now too. So it means I've got to rebuild the wheel yet again. Again, thank you very much for my subscribers. There's a fantastic lad out there. He's been building his own bike. He told us about this tape, rubber tape. So what we're going to do next is we're going to strip the wheel. I'm going to have to retape this probably again, but we're going to strip the wheel, and I'm going to show you what's involved with it. As you can see by not all the bolts being back in, is I've had the wheel apart and I've rebuilt it again. You can see it's fresh silicone. That's never needed to be in. It's a big job, guys. If you're ready to fix your own e-bike, I'm going to show you how to do it. First of all, I'm going to take the wheel off the bike, and we are going to go get a few basic tools, and then we're going to strip the casings off and push the motor out, ready to get the hall sensors. Just for any of you subscribers is wondering why I'm making 2 videos out of it, is that I've left it till today, half day Friday at work, and I thought, I'll go and get the hall sensors today. I've got to go to Newcastle, or Team Valley for them. What's happened is I've rang up this morning to order them to go and pick them up, and they've not got them in stock. So they're there on Monday, they're getting delivered, so next week's video I'll be reinstalling them. But for today, we're going to strip the wheel, show you all the hall sensors, what we're going to do to get them out. It is a big job, guys. It's just, I'm going to edit it, so I'm not going to be talking for much longer, but I want to show you how it's done. If you find this video helpful at all, guys, I'd be much appreciated if you leave us a like and a subscribe. Well, guys, firstly I just want to go through some of the tools, very basic ones. I do apologise for my camera angle, I'm not too sure where it's pointing, but we've got some Allen keys, got the old work G clamp, we've got These little beauties, 2 tyre levers. Don't get us wrong guys, I know this maybe is a bit controversial, but if you want to get one of these wheels at home, here's an idea. We've got a good chisel, one that doesn't bend, and just a standard hammer. So probably fast forward this because I'm sure you don't want to see us take some monkey bolts out. I'm pretty sure you guys are more than capable. Remember, lefty loosey, righty tighty, and you'll be alright. Turn it over, take the other side ones out, change the whole sensors guys. You need to take both sides of the wheel off because we're taking the whole entire motor out, stripping the entire wheel. If you're rebuilding one of these wheels guys and you're doing it from scratch and you're soldering in all your hall sensors and soldering in your phase wires, you're going to have to give yourself, I would say, a good 7, 8, maybe even longer if it's your first time hours. It is a massive job, but I've done this before. I'll give you a few tips about taking the casings off. Sometimes they come off no problem, other times they are a pain in the butt, you just don't know. Right now I'm taking these bolts out and I'm hoping they're going to split okay, but that's not always the case. Sometimes they pull off with the actual wheel bearing, sometimes they leave the wheel bearing on the axle. If you're changing your cables as well guys, there's already a shortcut that I've done with rebuilding the wheel already. Obviously before I knew the hall sensors were damaged. You've got to take your axle out, and take the axle out is a fair big job. The reason you have to take the axle out is because you've got to put the wires through it, and you could try, and I think you'd try, maybe you'll be okay if you've got like a 250 watt motor. I'm sure you feed your wires through maybe, but having a 5 kilowatt motor, you've got to take your axle out because you can't bend the wires through the axle and then into position. You're better off just take the axle out. But the axle, you can kind of get away with just putting a socket over one side. You need to find a big massive socket, probably like inch drive, that'll fit over your axle, and then you can wind it out with the wheel nut. Probably the best, cheapest, easiest way to do it. Right guys, so what we're going to do now, we're going to split the wheel. Pretty sure there'll be a good way and a bad way of doing this, but what I do is I use my chisel, and I usually use an extra spoke. I guess, why just give it a little tap. Obviously you don't tap too hard, you don't go through too far, but you can hear it change. You can hear the casing change noise when you tap it, and you work your way around. Obviously try not to damage your paint on your rims. The reason you go around in a circle is because this is an absolute perfect fit for the bearing that's underneath it, and if you try and lever it off without working its way around, you're going to lever it against itself and you're going to have real issues. So just work your way around it. I'd like to hear more popping. You can see there the casing's come loose. Doesn't mean to say it's nearly off by any stretch of the imagination. Just give it a little bit of leverage. You've got to be careful not to damage the windings inside guys. That's what your major issue is here. I've stripped these wheels before, so if you have a QS wheel, they have a lip on the inside, which means you can't really go in too far, not at that point, not at the breaking point. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to try and get my tyre levers underneath, and that one's under there. And I don't think I've got enough room on this side, because what you would usually do is put your other tyre lever in here, but what we're going to do is we're going to put the chisel back in with just the way the tyre lever on, just give it a little bit. Just enough, just there we go. Did you hear that pop up? Now that may be enough to get the other tyre lever under. Remember not to go too far with this guys, just like the depth of the hole, the actual bolt hole, and you want to be working your tyre levers opposite sides. Go and just give it a little push, use your body weight. Really careful not to damage your windings. As you can see, that's lifting off. Now would say this is a lot more free. At this point, you could try and give it a jingle. The issue I've got here is that I've got big 5 kilowatt wires here, so trying to get them through isn't the best or the easiest thing. What we'll do is just work this around. I'm going to try my best. There we go, you can hear it. It's getting stuck on the wire. Can't really do a lot about that. The wires I've bought are silicon wires, and I've also gotten the whole wires. There we go. This is off. You don't need to take the disc off. There you go. The top end's the side's completely off. This is what the wheel looks like. These are the whole wires that we're looking for. These are the phase cables, and you can see here that these wires run all the way through the axle, and there's a hole there, and they come out, and this is these wires. For any of you guys that aren't too sure, just point at them again. And now guys, we're going to turn the wheel over. Now, taking the other casing off tends to be a bit more of an issue, because what will happen is we'll get the casing up a little bit, and the magnet will try and it won't pull out, and it'll keep springing back, and that'll be our issue. So you can just work your way around. Don't be disheartened if you don't get it opened up immediately. There you go, you can hear the change. Actually hear the silicon pulling. Silicon on this, last time I siliconed it up, must have been really good. There you go, you can hear the change, starting to move. Oh, got a little gap, there we go, it's free. So that's basically all we're doing there, guys, is we're just breaking the silicon. It's giving us enough room to put the lever in, same again. Room on this side. Again, just be careful how deep you put them. That's why I find these tail levers quite good, because they've got good leverage, a short little distance. So I've got to now try and work this one off. Try not to go too deep, but another option. Feel the pulling on the motor. Now getting it so far, I'm hoping that we go by hand. That's one way to do it. You see this time the bearing would usually sit in here, and this time the bearing stayed on the axle. That's how we strip this out. So now both casings are off. Get that one out there. Now this is the interesting bit, guys. It doesn't always work, and sometimes you get a little bit scratched. What we do, carefully, I mean, if you're too worried about scratching your rim, or you always put a little bit of tape on it. What I've got to do is try and feed this through. Get it underneath the spoke. And what you do is use a tyre lever. I hope you guys can see this, because I know a few of you that's how I do it. So we've got the tyre lever, I'll sit it on the axle. See, this doesn't always work. We've got the G-clamp underneath the hub. We've got the tyre lever part here under the clamp of the G-clamp. And we've got the middle of the axle. And what we do is push down with this hand. You can see the motor's out, and I've got an issue because the G-clamp wasn't wound down enough. So I don't know how I'm going to do it, so I'm going to put the hood on, and there we go, guys. That's how you get a motor out without damaging it. I'll show you this again, the hall sensors. It's worth remembering I've got a damaged magnet to my wheel. There's only one set of hall magnets wired up. So these little holes here are where hall sensors go. You can see here, got 1, 2, 3 hall sensors on this side. What we're going to do is, we're going to take the silicon off all the hall sensors, we're going to cut the wires, we're going to remember where they go, and we're going to rewire them, and we're going to put new hall sensors in. So if you're interested, guys, please like and subscribe, watch next week, and I hope I've helped you out. Thanks for watching.